Okay, here we are at the aftermath of another event. Now, Ted, you want to show us your latest weapon, Ted?
Yeah.
You better be careful, man.
That's a screwdriver.
I'm afraid I'm going to get too much light in the back of Ron. Ron, you want to choke for us or something?
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
And
Laura, you
we
wanna
are
blow lunch?
moving right up here, the young people, the young
Oh
people's
yes,
quarters.
and here I
And
am, right here with the
Standing
young
so
people.
funny, Faye.
I'm trying to stand back, so I'm just showing my stuff here. And there's Mr. Chad, who's been so quiet today. Zoom.
Hey, Chad.
Show us what you were doing.
Chad.
Pyramid.
Chad.
Papa's got an idea.
Papa's got a brand new bed.
That's a song.
No, really.
What did you say, Chad?
He has a joke.
Okay, what's
That's
the
right,
joke,
you're
Chad?
Lauren's daughter.
No.
Do you? Who sang it?
No,
Okay.
it's on that 35 years of rock and roll.
If Uncle Ted would be quiet, I could hear you,
Mark is
Chad.
asking you.
Can I fix this?
Henway.
His Henway. His Henway. What's a Henway?
Well, I don't know, about 80 pounds.
Oh. And Mother, it's almost your birthday.
He's got another one, Faye.
Okay, let's get the camera back on Mr. Chad here.
Wait, so ask the other one.
Okay, Chad, what's your joke?
Can you fix my matter?
Your matta? What's your matta? What's a
I
matta?
don't know, what's the matter? Nothing's the matter with me, but what's the matter with you?
That's a good one.
Bad today. Bad today.
And let's get a shot of the father-to-be and the baby-to-be.
Get your wide angle.
You must need Mark.
You will.
Well, she's pointing at you, right?
Anybody else have any jokes before I turn this off?
I did have
Carolyn, would you like to tell us what you're going to do this afternoon?
I'm going to enjoy myself.
What are you going to do?
Not on film.
I didn't know you were not to do that.
Yes, I did. That's great. I had a call on my Friday.
Probably would like to see some people in classes. Yeah. The only computer classes we have currently is one-on-one.
Yeah, the rest of them are all preparatory.
I just wanted to jump.
Jim's gonna show us.
I'm thinking she's bending down because she's all tired. She's going to jump into it.
Down there too?
Yeah.
That's when she BITES. Did this change? See if we can find, if you see he's right up at the top of the stairs. Ask him if there's any way you can make it cooler down.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Basic drawing is still a very fundamental part of it. Our programs basically are essential as such committed to related education. That includes pretty much everything includes communication skills and techniques. It really is important for the student to be able to understand the business side of it, while students have an aversion to numbers and so on.
otherwise,
So, it's right on that.
Yeah.
Because of the expanded opportunity for space
Concerned that
all right. Just relax.
on Monday.
I haven't seen you for a while. Where have you been? I sure you had to go to the manor. I looked at it.
That's predominantly based
Yeah, right. Okay, where are you going?
I was not deserting.
There's a lot of civic we stay close, share training.
Hi, how are you doing? Good.
No, we have seen Bill. It's, welcome. How's 83? Horrendous. How about coming back from Southbound? It's not so bad. That's if you're ready. He's here. Yeah. Tabernacle Church, missionary church. Our neighbor to the direct south, Pastor Jordan.
Let's pray. Father, thank you for the opportunity that we have to stand here before you today. Lord, I thank you that you are the author of all creativity and art and beauty. And Lord, we just come here today to celebrate the opening of these fine facilities for the purpose of furthering art and beauty in the world. And I pray, Lord, that this would be an institution which furthers beauty and loveliness and creativity in all areas of society. Lord, that you would be seen for the beauty and the wonder and the majesty that you are. And I pray, Lord, that this would be a wonderful opportunity for people to come and to learn and to understand and to go forward from here into society to make a positive contribution to the world around them. We thank you, Lord, for your goodness and your faithfulness to us. In Jesus' name, amen.
It's truly a delight to see so many people that were willing to take time out of their busy schedules today and come out and join us for this great opportunity. I've been kidding with Harold Maley from York Technical about how hot his dedication was and how we chose October so we could avoid that. My apologies. We will try to keep things brief, but it is special that so many of you were willing to come with us. There are some people in the audience that I would like to recognize. This is always a dangerous thing to do because we will miss some very important people. But in addition to Congressman Goodling and Dr. Longenecker from the Department of Education, we have with us today President Commissioner Bob Minnick and York County Commissioners Chris Riley and Shirley Glass, I believe, is here also. We have from Spring Kingsbury Township our Township Manager, Paul Amick. Two of the supervisors are here, Bill Shank and Ken Pash. We have some representatives from the career school community coming from Washington. We have Bruce Leftwich from Career College Association. We have the acting director of the Accrediting Commission, ACCSCT. There are representatives from the Pennsylvania Association of Private School Administrators, our president and our executive director, Jim Murphy, and Dick Dumares. We have people who have been involved in working on the building. The architect and the contractor are represented. And we really appreciate your taking time to be here. But more importantly, we want to recognize the students, staff, the friends and family who have taken time to be here. Our classes end on Friday at 3 o'clock. We invited the students to stay. We tried to bribe them with food. We didn't start in time. The good news is we won't hear noise of cars leaving as we're going through notes today. But our purpose today is to dedicate Bradley Academy's new facility. While the bricks and mortar are a fitting monument to the school's growth, as well as the skills of our architect, Crabtree and Rohrbaugh, and the contractor, Robert Kinsley Construction, and their subcontractors. This dedication really is about the spirit of our students, staff, and faculty. The building is an outward sign of a greater but less visible trend taking place across the country. Bradley Academy, like thousands of other career schools, including York Technical, our neighbor to the east, are becoming more visible for the work being done to meet the growing needs of a well-trained workforce. The post-secondary community is comprised of many diverse parts, ranging from prestigious research universities to private and public four-year colleges, to community colleges, and to the career schools like Bradley Academy. For many years, career schools have worked in relative anonymity, and sort of like Cinderella, our students have been relegated to menial position in the higher education community. But in today's workforce, employers are becoming more focused on what people can do as they're being taken into that workforce. The Department of Labor projects 70% of jobs created in the next decade will require post-second skills beyond high school, but only 20% will require a four-year degree. Furthermore, the escalating needs for specific technical skills has put an increasing pressure on the higher education community to serve those needs. When given a chance to go to the ball, Cinderella and career schools have proven to be the answer to the prince's dream for well-trained and motivated students or workers. Our sector has responded by listening to employers' needs and structuring our curricula accordingly. But the success of our school is only possible with the right combination of people dedicated to their field of work. Bradley Academy is dedicated, or is particularly blessed with dedicated and passionate people. We have a staff dedicated to helping students eliminate barriers, or eliminate the barriers for student success. We have a faculty that's dedicated to teaching the practical, real-world skills and the work ethic that our graduates need to succeed. And most importantly, we have students who are dedicated to mastering those skills so they won't be left behind in a rapidly changing world. In an environment where people are committed toward a common goal, student success, and we define that as students getting a job in their chosen field. When people work toward that goal in a common way, good things happen. Consistently, 90% of our available graduates have found jobs within their field of training within 90 days of graduation. Employers throughout the region have come to rely on us as a source for work-ready graduates. Our students come from a wide area. Our service area is about a 100-mile radius from the city of York. but an even wider set of backgrounds. Some fit the profile of a typical college student. Some have been enrolled in other traditional sectors of higher ed, but have come to Bradley to seek what they need and to meet their needs. Many are from the forgotten 70% of the high school students heretofore not well served by the higher ed community. Still others are non-traditional students returning to the classroom after many years in the workforce or at home. However, the common denominator is a dream for a better life, a life using their God-given talents in a job that they really enjoy. The gentlemen who will speak here today play a very important part in making those dreams come true. They're instrumental in providing access to the financial aid that is so critical to our students. Without grants and loans, it would be impossible for many of them to get the skills so necessary to succeed in today's workplace. It's my great honor to introduce our first guest today, a man who has recognized the needs of America's students in the broadest context. He has spent much of his life in schools working as a teacher, a counselor, principal, and superintendent in schools in York County. His service to education continued after being elected to the House of Representatives in 1974. Bill Goodling has been chairman of the House Committee on Education and the Workforce since 1994, after serving as a ranking minority member of that committee for many years. His efforts to represent the needs of all students is legendary, emphasizing a level playing field for all schools and equal access to aid for all students. Bill Goodling has been a true champion of our students. It is with great pride I introduce Congressman Bill Goodling.
I think I'm at the right place because when I left home and in the bedroom, I thought I put on black socks. Sitting up here in the sun, I think they're brown, so maybe large. Of course, it might be in order for me. When Lauren kept talking about Cinderella, I thought perhaps he'd introduce me as the prince, and I was going to come around with the glass slipper and see who it might fit. But he didn't go that far, unfortunately. Mr. Secretary, it's good to have you in York County. I'm very, very proud of our proprietary schools in York County. We have many outstanding schools, and I'm very, very proud of the fact that their default rates are much lower, as a matter of fact, than some of my four-year institutions. Lauren mentioned that in the 21st century, we are looking at training and retraining and training again. Many of our people who ordinarily would have gone to one job, spent 25 years there, got their gold watch and retired, or 35 years, whatever it may have been. That period has gone forever, and now we're talking about training and retraining over and over again. I always tell voc ed teachers that I don't envy them because when they go to bed at midnight, I'm sure they think they have a good lesson plan, and when they wake up in the morning, they've discovered that the technology has changed so dramatically overnight that their lesson plan is an antique and wouldn't be worth very much. Well, what are we going to do about having enough people prepared for the jobs that will be there, the high-tech jobs? Of course, what you're here to celebrate today is part of that answer. When I became chairman, I said, let's focus a little more attention on the 75% of the students who never graduate from a four-year institution. We are the only country, I suppose, that does not concentrate on that 75%. And that's a tragedy. And we now realize that we better concentrate on that 75%, or our lifestyle is going to go down the tube, because we're not going to compete on the job market. We're not going to compete in this world economy that is so difficult in which to compete. And so our hope was that not only would we talk about quality education and elementary, secondary education, but that we would also talk about quality, affordable education for all post-secondary students, not just those going on to a four-year institution. We've done a lot, I think, along that line to refocus our emphasis. And with the help of the department, we will continue to put emphasis on that 75%, who are going to be the backbone of our economy. What I hear more than anything else from businesses in my area are, we don't have trained people. We don't have people ready to take the jobs that are available. We don't have people that are even partially trained, so that in fact we can help train them ourselves. And that's what Bradley Academy is all about. That's what our wonderful proprietary schools in the 19th Congressional District are all about. Helping business get the quality people they need so that they can compete on a global economy, so that they can have the people available, that their businesses can expand. Because, of course, if their businesses don't expand, then, of course, our lifestyle doesn't improve even more. In fact, it declines. So we're very happy to be here today to help Bradley celebrate. I believe you got 50% more space, which will give you a greater opportunity to continue your work with our business community here in the 19th Congressional District. And so at this point, all I want to say is good luck. We need you. We need quality proprietary schools. We need students constantly trained and retrained for the economy in the 21st century. We're trying to do that with our labor laws, and we just had a great time in Congress this week. I always look forward to those markups that we have in my committee. It's fun to do the education center.
Well, you Congressman, I'm very pleased to be here today for a variety of reasons. One is that this is a celebration. It's always wonderful to be a part of a celebration, particularly at such an exquisite new facility as this. Second reason is that I'm not in Washington, and that's always nice. And a third is that I really needed to get up here. Congressman Goodling is always talking about these institutions up here in York, and I felt it was about time I got up to see what he was talking about personally. It has been a real pleasure working with Congressman Goodling. As many of you are aware, those of you who work in post-secondary education, this is a very important time. In fact, the last few years have been extremely important for post-secondary education. But right now we're reauthorizing the Higher Education Act. We're working on it, which means that my staff and I are working very closely with Congressman Goodling's staff and him on that reauthorization. We have worked over the last 5 years on a number of very important issues for post-secondary education, and while we don't always agree, I must tell you it's been a real pleasure working with a professional colleague or a professional congressman like Bill Goodling. The Secretary thinks a great deal of Mr. Goodling, as he knows, but so do I and so do my staff. We think a great deal of you. You folks are being extremely well represented from York in the Congress of the United States, and you should be proud of the gentleman that represents you. This has been a wonderful afternoon. It wasn't so wonderful trying to get up here, but I think every road leading to York is now under construction. But it certainly has been a wonderful experience to get a chance to see this new facility, to meet the folks here who are running it, and to get a better sense of the kind of education that is being provided here. As you are aware, the President places a great deal of emphasis on education in general, and has been very active in post-secondary education specifically, and certainly so has Secretary Riley, who has been his chief champion in pursuing those. They, like the Congressman, are very dedicated to trying to assure that all citizens have the opportunity to achieve at the highest levels possible through elementary, secondary, and post-secondary education. And in the economy, the emerging global economy in which we live, that's going to be increasingly important. And an institution like this one is going to be critically important, because the kinds of jobs that students are preparing for here are integrally related to that information world that we are moving so much more toward. I would bet that although most of these students at this institution come from the York area, the surrounding York area, and most will probably work in this area. At least some of you will probably go out and work for a period of time in another country. And if you don't work in another country, most of you will probably have some work in an international arena. That's the nature of the workforce that we are training and that we will be a part of. And so a place like this that's providing the level of skills, the high level of skills that's coming out of this institution will be well served themselves individually and will serve our society very well. Now you can't find a much better example of that than right here in the York area. You've got the Harley plant that I just drove by a few minutes ago. That was in serious trouble a few years ago, but it sort of figured out what its niche in the world was, how it needed to change to compete in a world economy, and it was able to respond and is now a vibrant, growing, healthy organization, serving those of us who love Harleys really well. Higher education, post-secondary education, is an investment that really pays off. It pays off for those of you who are paying the tuitions and expenses to go. It pays off for the governments that help to subsidize that education, because you as individuals will earn substantially more. Not only that, we as a society will reap much greater gains from that. What we also know is that as a country, we have underinvested in post-secondary education, particularly at the high-skill, technical, career school level. We probably invest, I think we invest about right at the collegiate level. And that's an important part of our overall investment in higher education. But we clearly underinvest in preparing people for those high-skill, technical trades similar to the ones that are provided here at Bradley Institute or at York Technical down the street. And so, or the many other schools that I know are represented here, because I've met many of the folks who work for them as I had a chance beforehand. It's for that reason that the President, working closely with the Congress in a bipartisan way, has focused so much attention on higher education over the last few years. You're probably aware of some of the activities. The most significant ones were recently, most significant recent action was the tax package, which provides a substantial tax benefit called Hope Scholarship, a $1,500 tax credit for all the students who are first and second year students here at this institution will be eligible for this in the future, or a lifelong tax credit of 20% for all of those of you who have either come back to school after some time out or want to go back in the future. And those are important not only because of the benefits that they provide, but also because of the message that they send to the country about how important it is for people to continue their education, and how realistic and important it is for the federal government to help in assisting in that education. Now we're about the task of reauthorizing the Higher Education Act. We've got some continuing work to do in helping to assure that the Pell Grant program, which is the foundation of all federal student assistance, remains the strong program it's been, that we continue to refine and improve our student loan programs, both the direct lending program that the President and I like so much, and the FFEL program that the Congressman likes so much. And we want to work on that. But that opportunity has to come with responsibility. No matter what assistance the federal government makes available, you can't take advantage of it without studying hard. And academic preparation for college doesn't begin at the time you enter college, in fact, or trade school. As the Congressman mentioned, we need to focus on learning in every grade and make sure that every student has the academic background that's necessary to continue their education. Now again, we may not always agree on exactly the means to get to that end, but one of the things that we have particularly appreciated in working with Congressman Goodling is that we agree on the ends, and that there is no more, that we are all strong advocates for all students. At the same time that post-secondary education is growing in importance, it's just plain growing, and that's awfully important. Over the next decade, we'll see an increase of more than 20% in the demand for higher education in this country. It's one of the reasons why career institutions like this are so important to the future. They are already an integral part of American post-secondary education, educating more than 1 million students per year. And they have been for a long time. But they will be even that much more critically important in the future, because we're going to see a huge increase in the influx of students or people who want to be students. But we aren't going to see a huge influx in the public resources available to educate those students. So career schools, which basically don't take substantial public subsidy, will be an increasingly important part of the overall mix in post-secondary education. You know, to a great extent, these institutions have been the silent partner in post-secondary education. While you get little attention, each year you're educating an awful lot of the students in higher education. About 1 out of every 10 students is educated in proprietary schools. That's a history that dates back to the 17th century and continues to the present time. What makes American post-secondary education, I think, the best in the world is that we have such a diverse system of post-secondary education. We have the not-for-profit, the for-profit, the public, the private, the 2-year, the 4-year, the graduate. It is a wide array of institutions that meet the needs of our population well. And we need to make sure that we sustain that diversity as we move along into the future. There are 2 things that I think are that the career sector does particularly well that help, I think, push the rest of the system of post-secondary education. One is that you are facile and change rapidly. As the needs of industry change, so do you, because you have to. If you don't, you won't survive. You don't have that public subsidy. And the second is that you work extremely closely with business and industry so that you have that relevance right with you. And I think both of those are awfully important. An institution like this is on the cutting edge of technology. The students here are going to be able to leave this and perform at the highest levels in the new careers that they're interesting. This is an extremely important contribution that you make to post-secondary education. It's a privilege for me to be here with you today to see this new facility, to help in its inaugural event here in this new location, and to wish you the best at Bradley Institute and to share this podium with Congressman Goodlatte. Thank you very much. Good news. That's it for speeches, folks. Again, it's my pleasure to welcome you here today. I apologize for the 90 plus, but there are refreshments inside. In a moment, the Congressman and the Secretary and I will be cutting our ribbon. We're doing a little bit differently than most. But as we're doing that, I'd invite all of you to come in through the other door, look around, take a look at what we do. See our classrooms, our computer labs, take a look at the galleries, see the work that the students have done, get an idea for what it is that Bradley Academy is all about. Virgil Sova will be in the second floor gallery. This is our inaugural show for our community art gallery, and will be available to chat a little bit. There are some posters available for those who may be interested in taking home a memento from today. And more importantly, refreshments will be served as well. So please come in, thank you, and come back again and see us again soon.
Are you ready for us?
Just about. Before you guys go, you can look over here. That's
Okay, we're going to take pictures. 1, 2, 3.
That's what it says. That's good. That was the bus system.
That year, we were kids.